Can you imagine climbing the world's highest mountain when you can't even see it? Welcome to Story Studio 91. Erik stood at the base of Mount Everest. Wind howled around him. Ice crunched beneath his boots. All around him, other climbers stared up at the peak, their eyes tracing the path to the summit. They could see the white peak piercing the sky, the dangerous cliffs, the deadly ice falls. Erik could see nothing. He had been blind since he was 13 years old. His climbing partner touched his shoulder. "Ready?" he asked. Erik smiled. "I was born ready." But that wasn't exactly true. Erik wasn't born ready. He was born scared. When Erik was just 13, his world went dark. A rare disease completely destroyed his retinas. At first, colors started to fade. Then shapes began to blur. And then, everything disappeared. One day he could see his mother's face. The next day, he saw nothing. Just an endless, suffocating blackness. Forever. Erik cried for months. He locked himself in his room and refused to come out. What was the point? He couldn't play sports anymore. He'd never drive a car. He couldn't live a normal life. His father watched his son slowly disappear into a deep depression, and it broke his heart. One morning, his father walked into Erik's room and sat on the edge of the bed. "Son," he said softly, "being blind is not your prison. Fear is your prison, and you are the one who holds the key." Erik didn't believe him, not at first. But then his father did something completely unexpected. He took Erik rock climbing. Erik was terrified. "I can't see where I'm going," he protested. "Then feel where you are going," his father replied. They drove to a local climbing wall. His father guided Erik's hands to the rough plastic holes. "Feel the texture," he said. "Find the edge. Trust your fingers. Trust your own strength." Erik grabbed a hold. It felt rough, solid, real. He pulled himself up, one foot, then the other. His heart pounded in his chest. Fear was screaming in his mind, telling him to stop. But his body kept moving. He climbed 5 feet, then 10, then 20. When he finally reached the top, something inside him shifted. He realized something incredibly powerful. His eyes were blind, but his spirit could still see. From that day on, Erik stopped hiding from the world. He learned to wrestle and even joined the high school wrestling team. At first, other students thought it was a joke. A blind kid wrestling? Impossible! But Erik shocked everyone. He couldn't see his opponents, but he could feel their every movement. He could sense their weight shifts. He could anticipate their attacks. He didn't just compete. He won matches. He won tournaments. He proved to everyone and to himself that blindness was not weakness. But Erik wanted more. He wanted to challenge himself in ways no blind person had ever dared to attempt. So he started climbing mountains. People thought he was completely crazy. "You'll fall," they warned him. "You'll die." Erik didn't listen. He climbed mountains all across America. And yes, he fell many times. He broke bones. He got frostbite. But he never ever quit. Because every single mountain he climbed proved one simple thing: limits are just illusions. By the time Erik was 33, he had successfully climbed 6 of the 7 summits, the 7 highest peaks on each continent. Only one remained: Mount Everest, the tallest mountain on Earth, the most dangerous, unforgiving climb in the world. Erik assembled a team of experienced climbers who would be his eyes on the mountain. They tied ropes between them, creating a human chain of trust. They placed little bells on their backpacks so Erik could follow the sound. He climbed by listening, by feeling, by trusting his team and himself completely. The climb took to grueling months. The air grew dangerously thin, and Erik struggled to breathe. The cold was brutal, and his fingers went numb. The extreme altitude made him sick. He vomited. He started to hallucinate. He wanted to quit so many times. At 26,000 feet, they reached the death zone. This is the place where the human body can no longer survive for long. It's a place where bodies of past climbers litter the path, a haunting reminder of where dreams go to die. Erik's team stopped to rest. They looked up at the summit, still 3,000 feet above them. The wind was picking up fast. A storm was coming. They had to make a decision: go forward or turn back and save their lives. One of the climbers spoke. "Erik, it's just too dangerous. We should descend." Erik felt the wind whip against his face. He felt the bone-chilling cold. He could feel death lingering nearby. But he also felt something else. His father's words from all those years ago echoing in his mind. "Fear is your prison. You hold the key." "We keep climbing," Erik said, his voice firm. They climbed through the night, step by agonizing step, inch by inch. Erik couldn't see the summit, but he could feel it calling to him. His lungs burned. His legs screamed in protest. His body begged him to stop. But Erik kept moving, one foot forward, then another, just like that very first climbing wall, just like his first mountain. Trust. Move. Believe. On May 25, 2001, at 9 o'clock in the morning, Erik Weihenmayer reached the summit of Mount Everest. He became the first blind person to ever stand on top of the world. His team cheered, their voices cracking with emotion. They cried. They hugged him. Erik stood there, 29,030 feet above sea level. He couldn't see the breathtaking view, but he didn't need to. He could feel it. The wind. The cold. The impossible made possible. A cameraman documenting the climb asked him, "Erik, what do you see?" Erik smiled. "I see that anything is possible. I see that our greatest limitations are the ones we place on ourselves. I see that being blind does not mean living in darkness." Erik and his team descended the mountain safely. He returned home a hero. News stations interviewed him. Magazines wrote feature stories about him. Schools invited him to speak. But Erik didn't climb Everest for fame. He climbed it for every person who has ever been told they can't do something, for every child struggling with a disability, for every single human being who has ever felt limited by their circumstances. Today, Erik is a world-renowned motivational speaker. He has written books. He has helped thousands of blind children learn to climb, to wrestle, to live without fear. He teaches them the same powerful lesson his father taught him. Your disability is not your identity. Your courage is your identity. And courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is climbing the mountain, even when you can't see the top. If Erik's story moved you, please show your support by liking this video and subscribing to Story Studio 91. And tell us in the comments below, what is one thing you thought was impossible, but now believe you can achieve? Let's inspire each other to climb our own personal mountains. Thanks for watching.